Hi guys, welcome to Drum Dog, and today we are checking out a drumming essential, and that is push-pull technique. Now, what is push-pull technique and why is it called push-pull technique? Simply put, push-pull technique is an efficient way of playing a constant group of notes in one hand where we are pushing for an accent and then pulling for a non-accent, and we're getting the little pull note pretty much for free, meaning that we can play a fast group of notes with it taking up a lot less energy than if we were playing all of those notes individually, which seems like a lot more work. Now, purely for the fact of that efficiency and the fact that we're working smart and not harder means that we can play faster passages for longer without tiring, which I think we can all agree is a pretty good idea. So to get the hang of push-pull technique here, there's two strokes we need to get under our belts. Now, stroke number one, the push is simple enough. All we're doing is playing a note from our elbow. So with the elbow and forearm coming up, I'll just drop that note and I'll play it. Now, it's important where we're ending here because I can't play that note and then find myself all the way back up here because I'm going to need to keep the stick down here ready to play my pull note. So make sure you're coming down from that elbow with the forearm dropping, and we're controlling that rebound just sort of inch and a half away from that pad. Now here comes the slightly trickier stroke, the pull stroke. Now for that pull stroke, all we're doing is bringing that forearm back up ready for the next push stroke, but in the process, we're just loosening off our wrist to tap a note on the way up. Now, once more slowly, you can see I'm pulling up from the elbow for the forearm, but as it lifts, the wrist drops to just tap a note on the way up. Now, that stroke can be a little bit difficult to get the hang of. So here's a way we can force our arm to play that stroke if it's not quite working out for you yet. Now, all we have to do here is hold our arm just above the pad, hold it as loosely as you can while you're still holding the stick, but make sure that wrist is nice and supple and we're not tense. Then with your other arm, simply give the bottom of your forearm a swift slap. Now, what's the result that happens? That forearm lifts and that loose wrist plays a note. One more time. Now, if you're not playing a note there, make sure your wrist is nice and loose. If it's too tense, then the whole arm is just going to come up. That wrist has to be really nice and loose, so as that forearm comes up, the wrist naturally drags behind it because of the extension of that stick touches the pad. Now that motion there is our perfect upstroke. All we're doing is moving the forearm ourselves instead of slapping it with our other hand. Can feel really strange to practice that, guy, but do take the time and get that feeling as natural as you can. Now, once we've got both of those strokes under our belt and feeling comfortable, that push and that pull, it's time to tag them together in a constant stream of notes with a push, pull, push, pull. Now, obviously at this speed, those movements are quite big and dramatic, but as we speed this up, they'll gradually get smaller. But even as they do get smaller, the telltale that push-pull is push-pull and not just normal eighth notes is the fact that our forearm is only coming down every other hit. So if we imagine these as eighth notes, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then the important fact is that the forearm is only dropping on the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And all of those eighth note offbeats are just with that wrist in that little accidental upstroke that we're getting for free. Now do make sure those notes are even. Resist the temptation to go push-pull, push-pull, push-pull. We've got to keep that constant rate of notes, otherwise it's defeating the whole object really. Now you can see that as I'm slowly speeding up, my movements are getting smaller. So now that forearm isn't coming up anywhere near as high as it was, but it's still only dropping on the quarter notes. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep that wrist nice and supple so those upstrokes are still coming for free without us having to put in that extra effort to play them. Now it should be relaxed. Even up at a higher tempo, it shouldn't feel like you're pushing too hard, because it's almost just as much effort as playing those quarter notes. Now, as with anything, take the time to get used to this on the pad before you take it anywhere else, because you really have to take the time to watch that hand, see exactly what it's doing, making sure that each arm is moving in the right direction at the right time. But once you have got that feeling comfortable and you reckon you're ready to take it to the kit, let's check it out in a nice little simple eighth note groove. Now in that context there, you can really see how this is so useful and how it can help to play some of these grooves at a slightly higher tempo using less effort. Now once that's feeling comfortable, let's spice up the groove a little bit and add a few notes. Now as we add in 2 bass drums here on eighth notes on our 3 and, be sure to not accidentally play 2 push notes in a row while we've got those 2 bass drums. So keep it really confident on a bass drum on the push and then a bass drum on the pull into your snare drum on the push. Can be really tempting to go push, push, and then end up on the pull with the snare drum and all of a sudden everything's upside down. So keep a close eye on it. Now as push-pull has this natural accent pattern to it, we can use that to our advantage to change up this beat completely simply by flipping our push and pull strokes. So now we're going to be playing our push notes to accent the eighth note offbeats and our pull strokes on the quarter notes. So that'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now this can be a little bit disorientating at first, so take your time, but this guy does sound really effective. It makes a massive difference to how that beat sounds. Now, if you've got push-pull feeling pretty natural and you want to push it on to the next step, we can up the ante a little bit by doubling our subdivision. So instead of eighth notes, we'll push it up to 16th notes. So then that'll be eighth notes on our push and your 16th note offbeats on the pull, with a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E, 2, 3E and a 4E and a. Let's check it out on the kit. Now I really hope this short crash course on push-pull technique has really helped you guys get a feel for how it can be so useful, and maybe how some of your favourite drummers play some of those beats without getting tired after like 30 seconds of playing, because it makes such a huge difference to our energy output from simply using this efficient technique. Now, if you're looking to take this one step further and really push on to the extremes of what you can achieve with these types of techniques, then please do check out our full feature-length lesson pack over at our website drum.dog called The Technique Workshop. On top of that, don't forget you can check out other lessons similar to this on our YouTube channel, so please hit that subscribe button, and we hope to see you again soon.